Is there any way to be able to simulate the adrenaline that you would have in a normal game type situation? I mean, is there anything you do to amp yourself up?
You talking about with regards to having no fans?
Yeah, just when you take the mound, and I realize you're facing actual hitters from a different team than the Dodgers, but just kind of simulating that game atmosphere that you're so accustomed to.
Well, we're gonna find out tomorrow. But I think just after going so long during this pandemic without playing real baseball and facing the same two guys in sim games during quarantine, and then facing your own teammates. Luckily, we got a pretty good lineup, so it's I think kick things up a notch more so than it would most other times. But being able to see another team, especially in our division, 60-game race, so much on the line. I think it should take care of itself. But obviously, you got to wait and see.
You're one of the ones, Alex, that's been stretched out to where you need to be, extended to where you need to be, currently on track of everything. How does the body feel before your first outing in the regular season?
Yeah, good. I'm just ready to. I'm ready to rock. I can't wait to finally playing a real game. Especially opening up against the Giants, such a historic rivalry, and so I feel good. I'm excited about tomorrow, and hopefully we'll keep this thing rolling.
I know that you don't pitch until tomorrow, but when you're watching your teammates, kind of sitting with them, social distancing style, did it feel different to you when there was actually a win-loss on the line, despite how crazy this year is?
For sure. I think that was just being able to compete, going out there and watching those guys compete and seeing, our lineup finally get put together and go out and play meaningful baseball was a lot of fun. It was hard to figure out where to go, what to do during the game for Clayton, Julio, and Ross. We bounced around because I don't think we're supposed to be in the dugout. So that was a new adventure for sure, but I'm sure we'll kind of get our routine on the days we're not pitching and get it locked in.
What did you do during the game? I know sometimes you guys sit in the outfield, but what do you do with yourself?
Well, we started in left field, kind of above the bullpen, and then we made our way into the weight room. We were in the clubhouse for a little. Then we made it back out to the home run seats. We kind of bounced around. It was hard to sit in one spot really the whole time. But it's hard to beat those home run seats out there. So that's probably where I'll find myself a lot of the time.
What did you think about Dustin May's performance, considering the young right-hander found out a day before he had to fill in for Kirsch?
Yeah, I mean, I think his outing speaks for itself. I mean, he's got a chance to be a superstar. I mean, his stuff is. I mean, that doesn't come along every day, and for him to be I think he's just 22 years old, and it's pretty incredible. So it's going to be fun to watch him throw all year, watch him grow as a player, and kind of take that next step forward and show the league who he is and what he can do. So it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you, Alex.
Next question is from Jack Harris. Go ahead, Jack.
Hey, Alex, I'm curious, how impacted do you think your routine is going to be from, the days leading up to the start and the prep work you do to the game day to actually being on the mound? Do you have an idea of how different that might all feel?
I mean, as far as the in-between, I don't think it's a huge impact with everything that's going on. I think if anything for like the hitters, they might have be impacted a little bit more. When can you hit? How many guys can be in the cage? How many guys can be hitting BP on the field? How many guys can be doing individual work at one time with their hitting coach? For us, I mean, we're pretty much on our own. We have our strength coach, pitching coach, and so we lift at kind of our own pace. When the gym's empty or whatever, you get your conditioning in. You go out and play catch kind of on your own, whatever time fits in your day. So as far as the in between, physically, it's not going to be a big deal. I think the hardest part will be the kind of the mental preparation side. We're not really allowed access to computers. They're having to send us all of our information that we're going to be getting in order to prepare for whoever we're playing that start and that series. And so that part will be a little bit strange, as far as the day of routine, but the rest of it, I think shouldn't be too big of a deal.
With Clayton hurt and Walker still building up and David Price having opted out, I mean, do you feel like there's more of an emphasis on like you and the other guys in the rotation, especially early in the season, to provide some length and consistency?
Yeah, I think Mookie said it best, in his press conference. We're a pretty well-oiled machine, Obviously, you have guys like Clayton, him missing his first start. You can't replace a Clayton Kershaw, but we have a lot of good players, a lot of guys that are willing and able to step up. You know, it's not too often you see your opening day starter go down and miss his first start, and a 22-year-old kid that throws 100-mile-an-hour sinkers goes out and acts like he's been there for 5 or 6 years in the big leagues. And so we got a lot of guys that can contribute, and I think there's no extra pressure on anyone to do anything more than what they're capable of, and just being able to accomplish and play well when you have your opportunity, and just pass the torch to the next guy.
Yeah. What was it like to watch Clayton watch somebody else make an opening day start for the Dodgers yesterday? I mean, what was his mood watching Dustin?
I mean, he was fine. You know, it was nice to sit with him and Walker and Ross and Julio and those guys again and catch a big league baseball game. You know, I think he's feeling better already. And you know, Clayton's got 2 different versions of himself. You know, he's got the day he pitches, and he's got the rest of the time. You know, don't talk to him, locked in, greatest competitor you could ever play with or watch on his game day. And then he's a joyful, caring, funny guy on the other days. You know, works hard, gets his work done, but just he's always awesome to be around. You know, I couldn't really think of one time where it was really not fun to be around Clayton. So we had a blast watching those guys get our first win as a team last night, and hopefully many more to come.
Thank you.
Next question's from Rowan Kaltner. Go ahead, Rowan. Let's try Alanna Rizzo. Go ahead, Alanna.
Alex, you had mentioned perhaps a challenge is going to be not having the access to the computers and video and replay and those types of things. What specifically do you think would be the biggest challenge for you in particular?
You know, like my day of routine is, you know, you get to the park, once you get the lineup, you go in and you kind of evaluate the hitters that are starting the lineup, and then the rest of the guys after that, and you kind of have you know, your exact time, exact kind of game plan, how you go about preparing for those guys, you know, using all the data that they provide us, using bats and true media and all of that good stuff. And so probably it's going to make it to where I'll have to prepare probably more the day before in terms of who I'm facing that next day. So there's a little bit less to do and less to worry about the day of, just because you don't know how much time, what you have access to. Do I need to bring my own computer, iPad, whatever it may be. And so I probably will end up preparing more today or the day before for the lineup tomorrow than I have previously, when it was more convenient for me to be able to walk in, you know, the day of my start, go through the guys for an hour and a half, and then prepare that way. So I think that's probably going to be the biggest difference. But, you know, it's kind of one of those things where you're learning on the fly right now. And so we'll see how it goes today and tomorrow. And then I'll probably have a more in-depth answer for you after my first one.
Okay, thank you.
Got a question from Michael Duarte. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, Alex. Good to see you virtually again. Hope you're doing well. We've asked a lot of guys who were there about this next road trip to Houston, the first time you guys have returned there since the 2017 World Series. I know you've been very vocal about the whole sign stealing scandal and such. So I'm wondering what your thoughts are on playing there, and if you're disappointed that this is not going to be with fans or at Dodger Stadium with fans, like in a normal situation like it should have been.
Yeah, I mean, certainly overall disappointed that we won't get to play in front of fans, much less when we play Houston for the first time, you know, since that World Series. You know, I still think it'll be an electric atmosphere. It's going to be 2 great teams going up against each other. You know, I think both sides are going to have a chip on our shoulder, especially after what happened in 2017. And then also from them, you know, as vocal as me and a lot of our guys have been with regards to that. You know, it was just a gut-wrenching situation. You know, we haven't had a whole lot of talks about it really since spring training. I think guys are trying to look forward, not back. You know, obviously we have one thing on our mind. It's to win as many games as possible in the 60-game season to be able to try and make a path back to the World Series and hopefully finish the job this year. And so it'll be a blast, you know, having our first road trip in Houston against those guys. It'll be a great challenge for us, and I think we're excited for it.
Try this again, Ron Calvin with a question. Go ahead. I got one final question from Brooke Smith. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. Obviously, yesterday, a pretty historic moment with the pregame ceremony and everything that was happening. I wonder if you could talk about that a little bit and just kind of how it felt being down there with everybody.
It was a special moment. I think you have to tip your cap to Major League Baseball and the support, for what's going on, all the injustice, the support for Black Lives Matter. It still is kind of mind blowing, how some individuals, across the country can't get behind, Black Lives Matter. There's just so much travesty that's gone on. And all anybody wants is equality. And so to be able yesterday as a team, to take a knee for the Black Lives Matter and show your respect for what's going on in the world right now, was special. And I really thought it was a nice gesture that both teams took a knee for the black cloth moment that we had before the game, and then still allowed the opportunity for whoever felt like it was important for them to kneel during the anthem. And obviously for us, Mookie knelt, and we had two of our superstars right next to him showing their support. And it's been something that, for an organization like the Dodgers that has, kind of paved the way, with Jackie Robinson and the path towards equality for everyone. It's such a that's what I'm looking for. It's such a great organization in order to show their support and representation for equality. And for us to be able to do that yesterday was awesome. And it'll be great for us to stand up and use our voice and platform for equality moving forward.
Thank you, Alex. Thanks, everybody.